fastest time of anyone in this group. 3 guys have broken 15 minutes. Will Gallant is the other one in lane 3, right underneath Finke. So those 3 should certainly be the favorites. David Johnston, right there, 15:02. Brenniger's been 15 minutes. Brenniger on that Olympic team back in 21. Finished 17th in the 800 and the 1500. Now he just seems so young back then in Tokyo. He's 23 though.
Would ask you if anybody has the chance to hang with Finke, but we know Bobby's ability to come from behind, so can anybody build a big enough lead potentially to stay ahead of him?
That's exactly what would have to happen. I mean, that's the only scenario, and that's what Patrinieri did at the World Championships last summer. He built that big enough lead on Finke where Finke, it just became an impossibility to run Patrinieri down. He did run down everybody else, including Wellbrock, to get the silver medal at those Worlds last summer. But the Italian went 14:32. Finke went the American record, 14:36. But that's the only chance, and I just don't think anybody in this field has that capability.
Again, presuming Finke continues to lead here again, has the top personal best here by a wide margin. Is that the recipe for success against Bobby Finke there, where you almost have to take a bit of a suicide mission to go out really fast and hope that it stands up?
It's the only strategy at this point. I mean, the last 2 years, yes, from 21 and 22, based on what he's capable of doing coming on the back half of the race, especially the last 100 with it. For example, I'll just give you an example. If Bobby Finke was right there and they're flipping at the 1400, he would definitely be able to run anybody else down in the world. That's how good he is on the last 100. He was 26-1 the last 50. That's what a lot of guys would like to come home the last 50 of a 200. So yeah, you're right, Jason. That's a good way to put it. It's almost like a suicide mission. And that's what Patrinieri did last summer. Remember, we called it. We saw it. We kept saying, there's no way he's going to maintain this pace. No way, no way. But it was one of the great 1500s that I've ever seen when he did that. He almost broke the world record by Sun Yang from China.
So Finke here with the upper hand at this point. And Rowdy report that lane 1 may have a false start. Matthew Chai will look to get confirmation on that as he races on.
And of course, if that's true, that's, I mean, it's heartbreaking, obviously, but that's just something that's you really shouldn't have an excuse for. Not in a 1500 where the start is the least important part of the race. So hopefully that's not true. They'll come back and look at that again. That's unofficially, of course, but there is that report.
So Finke in a groove right now. And continuing to turn himself out. And we've seen him, Rowdy, kind of dabble in some other events throughout the course of the season to kind of test himself through his training down there in Florida.
Yeah, you know, we didn't really talk about that with Katie, but yeah, they both have. And Katie has flirted with the 400 IM. Actually had the American record at one point in yards in the 400 IM, and Bobby has done the same thing as a great 400 IMer. Will most likely swim that. He's got the 400 free, 800 free. He's going to have a long week, as Katie will too, but this is a guy that is also very versatile.
And it's interesting, Katie doesn't talk, Rowdy, a lot about kind of mindset publicly, at least, but be curious to see whether she shares that information with Bobby, who in the U.S. right now is in a Ledecky-like spot ahead of the pack with nobody pushing, where it feels like he gets so much fuel from seeing
coming
people
from
in
behind,
front of him
right?
coming from behind.
That's a good point, Jason. And you're right. That's really literally what has fueled him the last 2 years anyway. So this is a little bit of a different animal right here for Bobby Finke, even though I think in the United States he's always had that kind of dominance. If you look back at the Olympic trials, for example, in 2021, he won that race by 14 seconds. So he's used to it on American soil, no question about it. He won't have that luxury when we get to Japan, because this event has just exploded this year. Florian Wellbrock from Germany has the fastest time in the world this year with 14:34. That's faster than Bobby's ever been. Within from Ireland is right there at 14:34 as well. That's faster than Bobby. Go back to that 400 mark. That's kind of a benchmark. He was 351 there. And again, good splits along the way. Out in 55 plus, and then 8.4, 8.6, 8.6, 8.8, 8.9. So those are all 58 pluses from then on. So he's real consistent. And we're looking at American record pace. You have to look at 5:49 there at the 600. He's 100. 5:50 is his American record pace. And we know what he could do on the back half.
Charlie Clark, again, who represented the United States at the Worlds last summer in Budapest, along with Bobby Finke, right now in the second spot. David Johnston, who's been awful close, Rowdy, in trials in his career, trying to see if he can break through. Currently down third position.
You're right. He's another guy that's easy to root for because he's been so close so many times. Charlie Clark, as I mentioned, has been 14:51, and he's starting to look a little like what we just saw in the 800 with Lindsay Looney, even though she did it from an outside lane. Clark has built a huge lead now for second right there. And he really hasn't lost sight that much of Bobby Finke. Finke hasn't run away from him. He's run away from everybody else. It may look like it from this standpoint, but he's only about 10 meters behind Bobby. He's not going to run Bobby down, but he's looking pretty good right there. Yeah, that's a good shot, guys, of him not that far behind.
Clark, solid second. Johnston fading a touch. Gallant right now pushing in lane 3. Into the fourth position as he tries to potentially overtake Johnston for the third spot here at this juncture of the 1500.
Yeah, 351 first 400, 356 give or take on the second, excuse me, first 400, 351, 356 second 400. So he's right on, in fact, ahead of American record pace at the 800 mark, another benchmark. And Charlie Clark just running away with this thing for second. I thought Gallant might be a little quicker. Johnson, they're having good swims, but Charlie Clark is way ahead of what his lifetime potential could be. He was 7:53 at the 800 mark. He's having a fantastic swim.
He's about 6 seconds behind Finke, but still has a lead of about that much ahead of Johnston and Gallant. We're chasing him in third and fourth, respectively.
Can you imagine if he caught Bobby Finke with about 100 meters left to go? Wouldn't that be a bummer? Here I am. I'm trying to do as much as I can to stay with him. Oh my gosh, I pulled even with him with 100 meters left to go. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, I forgot about that.
And the closing speed here for a guy at 1,500 meters is special for the 23-year-old from the state of Florida. And again, continuing to work at his pace right now for a guy that pulled off that historic double gold of the 800 and 1,500 with the addition of that other event at the Olympics for the first time for the men in Tokyo.
And what was another cool thing about those 2 gold medals at the 800, first time in history. A men had swum the 800, same with the 1,500 that Katie won. And in the 1500, it was the longest drought of any race for U.S. men. You have to go way back to 1984. Mike O'Brien winning the 1500 for the United States, my Olympic team. That's how long the drought was for U.S. men in that event until Bobby broke it.
In his 2 golds, 2 of the 11 won by USA swimmers in Tokyo. 30 Olympic medals in all. 4th straight Olympics that U.S. swimmers had at least 30 total medals. 8 straight Olympics with 10 or more gold for the United States. Bobby Finke would love to add that tally next summer in Paris, and again in Japan next month at the World Championships.
I just love what he's stroke. I mean, just break down his stroke too. Freestyle is a series of, I don't know, extensions, engagements. He has that quick breath. Hand doesn't fly too high on the recovery. See how he keeps it nice and low? Snaps that head right back in line each and every time. Great extension right in front of that shoulder. That's where he makes that extension that I was talking about. And then he engages those hands and points those fingertips down toward the bottom of the pool after he engages the water out in front of him. There's no right or wrong in breathing when you get to a competition, Jason, but he breathes to one side and one side only. No problem there. You like to teach alternate breathing to both sides, but in a race, you need to do what's comfortable for you.
Well, Clark's lead, again, even more sizable. It's up to about 10 seconds now to hold down that 2nd spot. Still about 6.5 seconds here behind Bobby Finke. The chase for the lead as those guys look to go 1-2 with a 2nd consecutive team trials here for the United States. Do it here at the Phillips 66 National Championship.
And I'm hoping this crowd starts to get behind this swim. I mean, come on, guys, get to your feet on this one. I mean, you got 2 minutes left in this race. Let's get this guy going. He's right on American record pace, which I didn't think he would be able to do here in Indy. I definitely thought he had a chance in Japan, but not here. You knew he was going to make the team, but he's on American record pace. This guy's got a chance for the fastest American in history. He is.
Again, said it when he ran 2nd.
12:42, now he's fallen off by a second, a little over a second, really slowed down. He was right on it at the 1200 mark. He went up to 59.6 on that one.
It was the only silver lining to his silver last summer at the Worlds, was snagging that American record with that swim in Budapest.
I like the silver lining, nice, sharp. Silver lining, silver medal.
Absolutely. Again, for a guy that was oh so close to backing up both of those Olympic golds with a pair of world golds, still high quality for Bobby Finke. It's still seemingly plenty more of accolades and medals to come. Getting with the way he can be ultra consistent at the highest levels here in these distance events. Same thought here for Charlie Clark, potentially to make back-to-back world teams. A great feather in his cap as well. Bell lap here for these guys, and for the other performers trying to come to the finish here in the men's 1500 meters in the final race of this session of finals.
Well, he was 55.3 when he came home back at those Worlds. The 30 flat there, he was 29.2 on that first 50 of the last 100. I don't think he's going to get there, but he's going to have a fantastic swim. The fastest swim on American soil in history is 14:45.
See if Finke can get there to the wall. He will be a national champion And the Olympic gold medalist from Tokyo does set a new U.S. Open record for that fastest swim in the United States. Charlie Clark in there in second. Finke breaks the mark of Peter Vanderkay, set back at the 2008 Olympic trials. Winning time 14:42.81 second. Clark with a strong second. Third goes to Will Gallant. David Johnston in fourth. And the rest of the competitors working their way towards the wall. Alex Enyart there in fifth.
Well, I know everybody at home, those swimming fans are thinking, what'd he go the last 100? What'd he go? 59.4. It wasn't Bobby Finkish, but it didn't need to be Bobby Finkish. I mean, you said it at the very beginning, Jason. He didn't have to do it. You know, I think when he has to do it, he would have been able to do it. He has that ability to turn from Clark Kent to Superman that last 100, but only if he has to. And he's on his way to Japan, and again, just like we did with Katie, we start to look at just a beautiful freestyle. Everything is in control, great recovery. Talk about posture, great posture in the water, great balance. Even though he's breathing on one side, he doesn't lean to that one side. He's not crossing over. And he's got that great line, streamlined in the water. That's a great swim, man. I mean, fifth fastest in the world this year.
The winners with Kira.
All right, Bobby, a national champion, a new U.S. Open record. Take us through the race tonight.
I was really just trying to swim my own race and kind of go off fast a little bit. It was a little painful, but I'm really pleased with the time. It's my best time on U.S. soil, so.
Well, you're going to be moving from U.S. soil to Japan for Worlds. I know that you love racing for your country. How much are you looking forward to that experience?
The whole goal was to just get back on that team and race for Team USA again, and I get to do it with Charlie Clark again, and it's just a treat.
That you do. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Bobby Finke knows the winning formula here in the 1500 meters. Does it in U.S. Open record time. Charlie Clark, and potentially headed to his second straight World Championships should things hold to form for Team USA. And again, we'll look at the results from the time finals. Luke Ellis from an earlier heat ends up there cracking the top 8, along with Nathan Zabota as well. Well, a great cast of victors here on this opening night of the 2023 Phillips 66 National Championships. Rowdy, stars galore.